different aggregations like a sum, average, variance, standard deviation, max, min, count, and so on. We have different aggregation functions which we have discussed on yesterday's session with practical examples. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to what we call continue from that point, which means let us take data from the source and start applying a filter, which means what? Let's say for today's business, we need to focus on what we call only prepaid customer data. Though we get the data like postpaid customers as well as some other types of customers. So, but the business says that let us focus only on prepaid. So, how are we going to what we call limit the number of rows based on prepaid customers only? That is where we have to think of what we call using a one more processing stage which we call a filter. So that's what we are going to talk now. So there is a filter stage. Can you see here? Filter stage which will be used in order to limit the number of rows. Now, once you limit the number of rows, output of this filter data can be transferred to either to a file or to a database. For instance, to a file, if you want to transfer this filter data to a file, you can just select this sequential file and get it dragged onto this particular parallel canvas. So this is what we need to organize for stages. Remember, what we did now, we are trying to generate mock data and then apply a filter like whatever data that you want to what you call get, where we are going to define here, and after that, which means filtered data will be transferred to a target. In this case, flat file is going to be the target. So that's what we are going to do now. Now, we have just dragged and dropped. Now, what is the next step? In order to build a job, what is the definition of a job? It is a set of stages which will be interconnected in order to meet part of the business requirement is what we call a job in the Datastage context. Now, connect row generator with a filter stage, and then connect filter stage to a sequential file stage. So, this is how we can transfer the data from one stage to another stage, which means from row generator to filter, filter to sequential file. How the data transfer will take place? Through a link. This is one link, this is a second link, remember. Now, we know how to get connected of one stage with another stage. Now, the next step is going to be what? We need to configure each stage so that we will get to know the functionality of what we are going to do on each of these stages. Double click on this row generator where we can start generation of random data. In this case, we have number of records is what? 100 or 10 or 1000 or whatever. Let us make it very simple. Let us say 10 records that we are going to generate as part of row generator stage. Now, what do we need to do? To generate data, we have to have metadata, right? So we need to define the metadata over here. How do you do that? By adding columns over here. Like we have column 1, which is of type integer, and column 2, which is of type what I call integer, or whatever you want. You can build any number of columns and start what I call getting them added as part of this column start. Now we know how to create a metadata, how to what I call supply the number of records, so that we are going to generate what I call, or this row generator stage will be used in order to generate 10 records for these two columns. What are those columns? C1 and C2, which are of type integer and integer, and say OK. Yeah, this is a basic configuration of row generator stage. Yeah, once we are done with that, next step is going to be what? We need to start getting into the filter stage, which is going to be the important stage where we are going to write what we call filter conditions so that we can eliminate the rows of what is not required for the business. Let us start doing that by using the filter stage. So for that, double click on filter stage where we can supply what we call where clause. Remember, you know, here we have what we call column, right? Column 1, which is let's say less than 5, which means what? If the column 1 values less than 5, like a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right? If we have C1 data which is of that kind, which means in between 0 and 4 or 0 and 5, those records will be transferred to a target. Other values, like if the C1 values are greater than or equal to 5, which means 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all that. All such values or all such records where we have C1 values are greater than or equal to 5 will not be transferred to a target. So this is what we do as part of what I call building a simple filter. This is a simple filter. After that I'll talk about complex ones so that you will understand like how to build a simple filter criteria, how to build complex filter conditions within Datastage. Clear? Now, which means we just defined where clause, that's it. Now the next thing is what? Target, which means after applying a filter, we need to transfer filtered data to a target. To do that, we need to supply a target file over here. You know? So let us browse to a location where you want to dump this output. Let us say there is output folder under C drive where we will try to dump this what we call output. I'll put here that is a filter output. Filter output dot txt. Can you see here? And say okay, that's it. Then enter. So by default it's overwrite, which means it is going to create a file and populate data to this particular file. That's what happens. And after that say okay. So that's all. So this is how we can configure each stage in simple way. Any questions or clarification needed over here? Anis, Prashanti, Varg, Venkat, Rajeshwar, Lahari. I'll just unmute so that you guys can start asking questions.
You're fine, you think.
Okay, fine. If you have a question anyway, you can just put a question mark in this GoToMeeting chatting window, so that I'll just unmute. Yeah? Now, let us start getting it saved. Yeah? So save it to this particular what you call location and supply what you call job name. So once you store this into the job name, it will be stored where? Repository. Call back the architecture which we discussed. Yeah? So by default there is a question from Prashanti. So we did not specify any algorithm in row generator. By default it is going to make use of default algorithm and start generation of mock data, Prashanti. But if you want to generate based on the way that you want it, then you can select any algorithm and start generation of mock data. Yeah? Okay, now let us start supplying job name row gen filter underscore peak. Sorry, sequential file, right? That's it. Now save it. So this is what, once you save it, output of this particular job will be stored where? Metadata, right? Metadata means simple repository, just remember. Yeah? Data means what? When you run a job, data will be transferred to target. Remember, this is a data, that is a metadata. So repository will contain metadata only, which means all these properties like whatever we configure plus job name, all that. They're all part of metadata. Now compile. Compile, as part of compilation, what it does, it is going to check syntax and semantics with respect to each property of what we configured on each stage plus the linkage between or among several stages. So that is what it is going to do. Let us compile this. Yeah. Now if you see the message like job successfully compiled with no errors, means what? Everything is fine, and say close. Now the next step is what? We need to execute or run this particular job so that data will be transferred to a target. Yeah? For that, click on run button so that data will be transferred to a target. Yeah? And click on run button. Right? Yeah, now it got executed. So if you look at this statistics here, yeah, what do we have here? We have what we call 10 rows from row gen to filter. There are 10 rows, right? Yes or no? Which are transferred to filter stage. But after filter, if you look at here, only 5 rows have been transferred to a target, which is to a sequential file. Why? Because we kept the filter condition which is less than 5. Yes or no? Which means this guy, if you go and look at the data in this particular row generator in view data, can you see here? You can use view data in order to look at the data of what is generated by row generator. Yeah? So this filter stage is going to take this data and apply filter condition, which is what? C1 less than 5. Now we will look at the data, like how many number of rows where we have less than 5. Can you see here? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the 10 rows, right? Out of them, first 5 rows, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 5 rows, what I call, they are going to get satisfied with the filter condition. From 6th row, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They are not going to get satisfied with the filter condition. So those rows will not be transferred to a target. That is why after filter we have what? Only 5 rows. Yeah. Now where do you have those 5 rows? You will see them as part of sequential file. So let us go to that location where we have supplied this particular sequential file, open that file and look at the output. Now see output folder, and can you see here there is a filter output which got generated, and you can open this in the notepad to look at the output. Can you see here 0 to 4. That is what will happen with this particular simple filter condition. Any questions here? That's all. Yeah, just to summarize, we got the data from row generator, apply filter like whatever you need, get it transferred to a target. Target here is what? Plot file. That's all. Yeah. This is a simple filter condition. Now let us expand this with the complex filter conditions. Let me save this to some other job. Yeah. So instead of recreation, right, we need to waste time, right? Instead of that, we will use the same job with what I call multiple filters. Which means, let us say, in one target, we need to take care of prepaid customers' data In another target, we need to take care of postpaid customers data. So how are we going to achieve that within this filter, what we call stage? For that, we can add multiple filter conditions. One filter condition will be used to take care of prepaid and other filter condition will be used to take care of postpaid customers. In this case or in this particular sample data, we'll take, let us say, C1 where we have less than 5. In another filter condition, we'll have greater than 5. So greater than 5 value should be sent to some other target and less than 5 will be sent to another target. Now let us add one more where clause. Click on predicates and right side you will see where clause. Can you see here? Now start building a filter condition which is greater than 5. Clear? Now we have built two conditions, but how are we going to capture the output based on these two conditions? That is where we need to add one more target which is similar to what we call first target. So let us add it, which is what? One more sequential file, let us say, and get it connected to this particular file, which is second file, right? Then supply the file name, browse to a location and supply file name sequential filter 2, fine, .txt output. That's it, and then enter, say OK. So this is how, which means what? Second filter output will be sent to second sequential file and first filter condition output will be sent to this first sequential file. Now let us, which condition data will be sent to where? How do you know that? That you will get to know from the link ordering. Can you see here? There is a link 4 which is a label of 0. Link 4 will have first condition which is what? Less than 5. Remember, link 4. Less than 5 will be sent to where? Link 4. And greater than 5, link 6. Remember, from the top to bottom, whichever the order that we have, so corresponding conditions will be executed here. And then say OK. So link 4, first condition. Link 5, this is a link 4, right? This is a first condition output. And the second link, which is a link 6, second condition output. That's it. So that's what you will see here. Clear? And now let us compile and run so that we can look at the output. Now it has been compiled. Let us execute it. Can you see here? Now we have 5 rows with the first output link, which is first where clause, and 4 rows for the second where clause, greater than 5, right? Which means 6, 7, 8, 9. That's it. So here 4 rows, here 5 rows. There is one row which is not transferred because that particular row did not meet any of these two filter conditions. Now let us go to this output folder and look at the output. There is second filter. Can you see here? This file has been created and we can also see the data, which is second filter data, which is 6, 7, 8, 9. So what we did there, condition, we have just added C1 greater than 5. So that's what we have. We have 2 columns, right? That's a 2 column data we have. This is second filter condition. First filter condition, anyway, we have seen it. Yeah. So I think previous example we have done that. Yeah. So that's what will happen with this filter count. Yeah. Clear? Any questions here? There's a filter output. Yeah. There is one more file name, filter output. First one, right? Yeah, that's it. This is what you will see here. 0 to 4. So that's it about how to build what one or more filter conditions so that we can transfer data to appropriate target. So this is what we do. Now the next scenario is going to be what? So which means in case if we have n number of conditions, we will have n number of targets. Remember, I repeat, if we have n number of conditions, you will have n number of targets. In this particular example, like what we discussed so far was, there are two filter conditions. So we have one is less than 5, other is greater than 5. So we have two targets. Yeah, one is what we call filter output, other is what we call SEQ output or filter 2. Yeah. So now the next is what? Another scenario. Let us say what happens to other records which does not satisfy these filter conditions. Yeah. In case if you want to know what are those records and the reason why we got such records which is not expected by the business. In case if you want to know such records, those records will be captured in another link which we call a reject link. Which means what? Any records which does not satisfies these filter conditions will be captured in another link which we call reject link. That is what I am going to explain now in another job. Yeah. So let us save this particular job. Yeah. We are just extending first job with the second, second with the third. It's like a sequential, what I call, way of learning things. Yeah. Multiple filters, yeah, plus reject also we are going to capture. Yeah. Yeah, save it. Yeah. Now we are saving this particular job to another. Now start building what or configuring rejected concept within the filter stage. Double click on filter stage where you can see the options. Can you see here? Output rejects is equal to false. Remember, which means what? We are not capturing rejected records now. If you make this as a true, which means select this true within the drop down and say OK, which means what? If we have any records which does not meet the filter conditions or weight losses, those things will be captured in another link which we call reject link. Now add one more target where we are going to capture reject link. Can you see here? Connect filter to this particular last flat file and select this particular link, right click on this particular link, yeah, and then convert to reject. Can you see here? Because this is not a normal filter condition, but this is a reject. So that is why we need to select, convert to reject. Can you see here? Dotted line with arrow indicates what? Reject link, or this line would look like what I call imaginary link, remember, and supply the file name so that we can see the rejected records in this particular flat file. Now supply file name. So I'll put here filter reject dot txt, which means what? So this would contain the records which does not meet the filter conditions, and say OK. Save it, right? Now it is saved, compile and run. Yeah. And run it. Yeah. Yeah, now it has been executed, right? Can you see here in reject link, if you look at the statistic, there is a one row which does not meet the filter conditions. If you sum up all the records, right? 5 here, 4 here, 1 here. 5 plus 4 plus 1, 10 rows, right? Now we got all the rows transferred. But only thing is, depending upon the filter condition, some rows have been sent to this, some rows have been sent to this, some rows have been sent to this. Here 5, here 4, here 1. That's it. Now we can go to output folder where we can start looking at what we call rejected records. Can you see here? Filter reject, which is what? Which is a 5. Because less than 5 we have taken care in the first filter, greater than 5 we have taken care in the second filter, but equal to 5 we have not taken care. That part has been sent to a rejected link. So which means what? Any of the filter conditions which does not satisfy the need, right? Those records will be sent to a reject link. That's it. So that is what we have as part of this simple job, which would contain filter processing stage. Any questions here or any clarification needed over here? Is it clear? Everything is clear?
Yeah, can we have multiple rejection links in case of huge amount of data?
No, you will have only one reject link. Maximum you can have only one, Prashanti.
Okay.
But in case if you have large volume of data, right, what we could do is we can build what we call multiple filter conditions. Yeah, let's say 1 billion records and 1 million in one each link, right? We can have multiple conditions that we can build.
Okay.
Based on that, we can split large volume of data into multiple chunks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can build filter conditions. Yeah. Now the next is what? How are we going to build? Okay. Before I get there, any other questions? Venkat, Raj, Prashanti, Anis, Rajesh, okay, I'll just mute it so that there will not be any disturbance. Now, let us start building what is called compound expressions, which means what? If we have what is called more than one expression, how are we going to build in such scenario? We need to get into what we call building a compound expression. Yeah? Now, let us save this to some other job and start building what we call compound expression. Yeah? So let me build that. Yeah? I'll put here compound expression. Yeah? Yeah. Now get it saved. Clear? Now we have just what you call saved it. Yeah, instead of creating from scratch, right? I have just saved it because we are focusing on a filter stage. Yeah, this row gen sequential file straightforward. The main stages here is what? Processing stage, which is a filter stage. So I am trying to explain all the possible combinations of what we have in a filter stage. Yeah? Now let us start building a compound expression, meaning what? Multiple relational or multiple expressions will be what we call, will make use of relational operators. Now in case if you want to build compound, compound expression will be formed based on logical operators like we have and, or, not. Yeah? So that is what we are going to build by adding one more where clause. Can you see here? Now add one more where clause where let us say C1 less than 5 and C what I call C1 less than 8. So which means C1 greater than 5, not less than. This is wrong. Yeah, can you see here? So which means what? We are trying to capture here in between 5 and 8. That's what it means. Greater than 5, less than 8, which means 6, 7. These two values need to be transferred to target. Clear? Now, for the condition, okay, to add one output line, that's it. Now, define the file name. Yeah, now supply file, which is what? Filter based on compound expression dot txt. Yeah, that's it. Now say enter. It's done. After that say OK. Yeah. Now get it saved. That's it. So this is what we need to do. After that compile and run. Yeah. Compile, right? Now run this. That's it. Now third filter data will be sent to another sequential file. Can you see here there are two rows which are transferred, right? The rest of them anyway we discussed here. Now we are focusing on compound, right? Compound we have what? Two rows have been transferred here. Yeah? So where do we see the output? We can go to output folder where we will look at the output. Yeah? Filter compound expression. Can you see here 6 and 7? Because we kept the condition which is greater than 5 and less than 8. 6 and 7 falls under that particular filter condition. That's all. Clear? Likewise, we can build any number of conditions and start what you call limiting the number of rows for each target. It means if we have very large data, what we could do is we can start splitting the data into multiple targets based on what? Multiple filter conditions over here. Yeah? Now, just by looking at the job, it is very difficult to understand which one is what I call which one contains what, right? To understand that, we can open a filter condition, look at the where clauses, and which where clause data should be sent to where. How do you, from where you will get that? For that, we need to get into link ordering, where you will see link names or link labels. Link names is the best option, where you can see link 4, link 6, link 10, link 9 or whatever. Which means link 9 is what? Rejected records. Rest of them normal output links 4, 6 and 10. That's it. So you can see first where clause data will be sent to link 4, which is this. Second condition will be sent to link 6, and third condition will be sent to link 10, and unmatched records will be sent to where? Other link, which is a reject link. That's all we have with respect to this filter stage. Yeah. So this is a simple example of what I call filter stage with the different filter conditions. We started with a simple condition. Second is what? More than one condition. Third is what? With the unmatched records with a reject link. And fourth is what? We have talked about how to take care of this what? Logical part, which is compound expression. So this is what we discussed over here. Now, likewise, we can explore. Can you see here output row only once? Yeah. In case if you want, let us say, to display only once it is get matched, which means let us say if we have the duplicate data, in that case, if it is going to get matched, then only once only display it. In that case, we go with what? Output row only once. Yeah. Now we can save it. We need to configure this first. Yeah. This we need to make it to true so that only once it will be displayed or it will be transferred. Yeah. Can you see here? Output row only once. Huh? Now, which means what? In case if we have the data which is already met the conditions, which means what? Same data will not be transferred. If you look at here, here we have 6 and 7. So we have already transferred data. Here also we have what? 6 and 7. Yes or no? That data will not be transferred here because it is already transferred here. Which means once the condition is met, next time if the similar condition is going to met with some other filter condition, then the data will not be transferred. That's what we call output row only once, which means only once only transfer the row for the first filter condition. Next filter condition, if it is going to satisfy the same date, same row, it will not be transferred. So that's what is the effect of this particular what I call output row only once, which means once one row is going to get satisfied with the filter condition, again another filter condition is going to get satisfied, the data will not be transferred. So that is what happens with this what I call filter conditions data. Clear? Any questions so far? Anish, Prashanti, Vag, Venkat, Bhagesh.
I think we're fine.
Okay, fine. So that's about what I call filter stage. Yeah? So which means it can take one input link, which means data from one source, and transfer it to multiple targets. So you will have one input link, multiple output links, and optionally one reject link. Can you see here? This is what happens. One input link, multiple output links. Optionally, if you want to capture rejects, then only you will have reject link, or else no. That's why I said optionally reject link. That's all. So that's about filter stage in data stage. Now, let's say, assuming that you need to write your own cell script, which means you need to filter the data based on what it called Unix command line utilities, or based on the cell script of what you are going to write or what you have written. So how are we going to take care of it within the data stage? So that cannot be achieved by using this particular filter stage. To do that, we have one more stage which we call external filter stage, which I am going to talk about. Yeah? Let us create a new job, yeah? Fine, which is going to be the parallel job, and say okay. Clear? Now we got empty workspace where we are going to build this particular job, which contains what we call the external filter, which will be used in order to limit the number of rows based on Unix command line utilities or based on a shell script. Let us start doing it. Let us say input data is going to be the row generator, and then we need to use external filter stage to call Unix command line utilities or shell script and transfer data to a target. Target could be a switch file, or it could be something. Now start getting one is connected to another switch, row gen to what external filter to a sequential file. Yeah. So let us start getting it configured. Yeah. Add columns over here. Yeah. Let us say we have column 1, which is of type integer. Yeah. Let us take simple one column. Yeah, we have 10 rows, right? By default 0 to 9. Yeah. That's what this guy row generator is going to generate by default, and go to external filter. So for this you need to supply here what I call different filter commands. In Unix, if you know, it's fine. Even if you don't know it, is fine. Don't worry about that, because we have different stages in data stage, so I need to cover all of them, right? So I'm covering that. So now we will use what we call grep, that is a file, which means grep in Unix is what? Global regular expression. So which means in case if the input data is going to meet this particular value, which is a 5, then the data will be transferred to a target, or else it will not transfer. Yeah? Now define what we call target, which is going to be the sequential file. So browse for the file and supply. Yes, I'll put here external filter output .txt. Clear? Say enter. After that, say OK. Which means what? In this particular case, only the record which contains value 5 will be transferred. The rest of them will be ignored or skipped off. Now save it to what? Row gen external filter underscore sequential file. Yeah, supply this meaningful job names, so that just by looking at the job you will get to know like what this particular job does, yeah, and then save it. Yeah. That's all. Now compile and run. And run it. Yeah. So let it get executed. Yeah, can you see that there is only one row which got transferred? So let me just expand this. Yeah, if you look at here, from row 10 to external filter, we have 10 rows, right? And from external filter to sequential file, we have only one row. Because after filter, only one row which got satisfied with this particular grep command. Now we can go and look at that particular row as part of this target file. Yeah. So can see here only 5 which got transferred to a target. That's all we do as part of external filter. Likewise, you can write your row script, or you can use, we have different Unix commands, right? Like we have a sed, we have a op, we have egrep, we have fgrep, and so on. So we can use any of those Unix command line utilities in order to apply a filter so that filtered data will be transferred to a target. You know? So that's what you would see with external filter stage. So with this, we will stop today. We will continue from here with some more stages from tomorrow. So if you have any questions, you can